Okay, I'm looking at the cover ratios here, so interest cover and dividend cover. So to go through where we get these formulas from, what I've done here is I've listed the different profits that a business makes. So we have sales less cost, that gives us our gross profit. Take away our operating expenses. So this is the regular bills that we have, insurance, rent, that kind of stuff. And that gives us our operating profit. We take away the interest on any loans we have, and that's our net profit. Take away our preference dividends. Just so we understand, preference shareholders, they invest money in shares, but they get a fixed amount of dividends every year. Good year or bad, they get the set percentage interest. So we treat them like a loan. The only difference between them and a loan is that if the business goes bust, the bank may be able to get their money back by taking some of the fixed assets, whereas preference shareholders lose all of their money. And that in that regard, they're the same as ordinary shareholders. But because we pay them a set amount, we treat them as if they were a loan when we were doing our gearing formula, for example, before. When we've taken away our preference dividends, we get our ordinary shareholder profit, and we take away our ordinary dividends for that, and what's left is our retained profit, just so we understand the different profits that I've highlighted there. So when I'm doing the formula for interest cover, I use the operating profit. So the reason I use operating profit is this is the big lump of money that we have available to cover our all of our expenses, that has been generated after all of our expenses, and we have that money available to pay interest and dividends. So we take away our interest from the operating profit. We're comparing the interest to the operating profit to see how many times interest are we earning, or how much bigger is the profit that has been made compared to the interest that we're going to have to pay out. So in this question here, we know that the interest is listed over here as 3,200. Now, how much of a burden was it paying that interest? How easy was it for us to pay the interest? Now, if we look here, we have our net profit. I'm looking at my formula over here. There's my net profit, so I might as well take that number and put that number in. Okay, and our interest is listed as 3,200. So if I work backwards, I'll be able to find the operating profit. So this amount minus the 3,2 gives us our net profit. So our operating profit goes on top. So when we divide those, so 163 divided by 3,200, we get 51 times. So we're earning 51 times the amount of money we need just to cover our interest. So it means we're earning an awful lot more than we need to cover interest. So the interest is not a burden for our business. So dividend cover. So this is ordinary dividend we're talking about. So how much money was available to cover our ordinary dividends? Now, in this question, we see no mention of preference shares, so all of our dividends are ordinary dividends at this stage, so it's 50,000 dividends. So 50,000 there. Now, which profit am I going to use? Well, there's the ordinary dividends. There is the ordinary share profit. This is the money that is earned from the ordinary shareholders. It happens to be the same in this case as net profit because we had zero preference dividends to pay out. But it would be the ordinary share profit we put in. So I'm just going to list that. I know in the book it may say something different. I think in the book it says net profit less preference dividends, but I call it the ordinary share profit. So this is the profit that is belonging to the ordinary shareholders, some of which is going to be given to them in dividends, and the rest is going to be retained, which is obviously it's saving the money in the business, and that's a good idea long term. So in this case, the ordinary share profit is 160, 175. So when we do the maths, we find that we're earning 3 times the profit to cover our dividends. So what it basically means is 1/3 of our profit has been paid in dividends, and 2/3 is been kept and retained in the business. So what will we do with our 2/3? So that 2/3 is in here, the 110,000. So that's going to be used in the future to pay for more fixed assets. So when we expand our business, we won't need to go and borrow so much because we have so much money saved. So that might mean the shareholders are disappointed. We're not getting money now in the short term, But in the long term, because we're saving so much, we're earning 3 times the profit we need to cover our dividends, well, that means that in the future we're going to not have to borrow so much, we won't be so risky, and it'll be easy for our business to afford to expand. So that's why we look at that particular formula.